Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and every other beautiful individual and entity. My name is MaximumAustin, and today we're going to talk about a movie. Shocker, I know. But I saw this trending on Twitter where people would show DVD copies or Blu ray copies of movies that they have and explain why those copies that they have make up their favorite movies. And here's one of my favorites. This was a gift given to me about 13 years ago by my stepdad, a few months after we watched the original 1985 film Back to the Future on television. And if you don't know what Back to the Future is, well, sorry. But I guess I'll spend the next 5 minutes or so talking about why Back to the Future, the tale of Marty McFly and his mom and his dad and Christopher Lloyd and a bully and other things, is one of my favorite movies. I'm specifically talking about the first one. Yeah, this has some wear and tear on it. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. I saw it when I was 14 in 2007 on TV, and I watched the whole thing, and I think the first one is just one of my favorite movies ever made. I believe it's something special. It's the great American movie of the 80s. Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies because it made me realize that filmmaking and storytelling and just media in general can be used as a method to convey ideas, but also convey ideas in new and interesting, unique ways. Marty McFly, Michael J. Fox's character, is a teen living in the 1980s who doesn't really get along with his parents or just can't relate to them. He gets sent back to 1950s via a incident involving a time machine made out of a DeLorean. He goes back to 1955 where he meets his parents as they were teenagers. They're all the same age, and he learns something a little bit more about himself, a little bit more about his parents, and ultimately he returns to the future where everything turned out a bit better. This film is really one of my favorites because it does convey the idea, your parents being at the same point at you are in your life. It does this point very well. The message of, like, hey, your parents were in your position once. There's like this promotion of relatability and empathy and sympathy that I admire. Back to the Future is a prime example of a great science fiction story in that the hardware is supplemental. It's themes and characters that really make a science fiction story special. Think about your favorite science fiction movies, media, comics, TV shows, whatever. They probably have a human element to them, and they're not strictly about the hardware or like, oh wow, this mech thing, holy crap, it's very big. Oh my god. So I guess that's why Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. I'm hitting the mic again, which I always do. The first one is probably the best of the series. The second and third have unique ideas and do have the same sort of standard, but they're not as good. But hey, it's all good. Looking back on it now, you can definitely tell that the first film was really made first with no intention of like follow-ups or sequels or anything else. But I think the series came out okay. I don't want a remake. I would like these ideas explored, maybe with the time travel gimmick. Just don't call it Back to the Future, So hey, that's why Back to the Future is one of my favorite films. It's a textbook movie and science fiction story for me. Just this DVD in particular, just looking at the behind-the-scenes featurettes with Bob Gale, the writer and producer on it, explaining different things about storytelling and writing and how that's where, and learning how he got the idea for the main hook of Back to the Future, the first film at least, and sort of learning about the storytelling process and conveying a message. And I guess this is important to me because when I was in middle school, being a person on the autism spectrum, it wasn't very easy to convey ideas or relate to people. But looking back on it, Back to the Future was sort of like a supplemental thing for me. It came at the perfect point in my life. This 80s movie, most of it taking place in the 1950s, that I saw in the 2000s. Wrap your brain around that. I can't think of a more perfect movie from this time. Learning about how they cut out scenes that had jokes that didn't really advance the plot or weren't good really inspired me, and this is why Back to the Future is one of my favorite films of all time. I do love the sequels too. So that's it. That wasn't funny. But you know what? Sometimes life isn't funny. Funny as in humorous. It's plenty funny as in weird. So that's the video. What did you think of Back to the Future? What did you think of me? What do you think of my face? What do you think of my holiday Santa hat? It's Christmas. It's that time of year. So hey, leave a comment down below. Maybe give the video a like, subscribe if you wish. I just saw this trending on Twitter and I figured, hey, this would make a great video. So that's what you do when you have good ideas. It's very reflective. Also, it has new art. This is Doc Brown. It's in full screen. It's in full screen, though. Ugh. Yuck. But that's okay. So, hey, I'm MaximumAustin. And until next time, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. And until next time, always remember to keep being confident and you enjoy your day. Thank you. Wah.